Good morning, guys. It is Thursday, March the 18th. Remember, we released early from school today at 2 o'clock. So be sure that you go into Canvas and do your activity for your fourth period class. Okay. And then just remember, guys, to stay safe tonight. If your parents have a car, make sure they're covering their car for hail, the hood, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. So this is what we covered for today. So for review, ask the class 3 questions. This first question, remember yesterday we talked about tariffs, embargoes, and quotas. So this first one, it says India limits the amount of imported wheat to protect its own industry. This is an example of which international trade barrier. This will be a quota because they are limiting the amount of wheat that's imported into their country. So this is a quota, Q-U-O-T-A. The next one, during the COVID-19 crisis, most countries prevented any travelers from traveling into their country. This is called an embargo or a travel ban. So embargo with a B and ban, you're banned from like going into a club. Or like Jacob said yesterday, an embargo means no go. And then the last one, Europe increased the price of all imported Harley-Davidson motorcycles from the US by 18%. Europe increased their tariff or their tax on imported bikes. So this one would be a tariff. A tariff is a tax, just like we pay sales tax on stuff that we buy like drinks and snacks and sodas. So, but this is a tax on products that are actually imported into other countries. So this is called a tariff, T-A-R-I-F-F. We have 3 new vocabulary terms today. So these 3 actually encourage international trade. So they don't hinder it, they encourage international trade. So this first one is a common market. So think of countries that are in a common area. So like Canada, the United States, and Mexico, we're a common market because we are near each other. So sometimes countries that are near each other will not charge each other import taxes, just like the United States, Canada, and Mexico. We don't charge each other import taxes. That way we can make North America stronger. So that way when travelers come to Mexico, the United States, and Canada, our prices are competitive from all 3 countries, and we're competing for North America versus the other countries around the world. So for a common market, these are members that are close to each other that freely trade without any kind of trade barriers, without taxes, and they try to reduce the laws to encourage trade. So the example I gave you, Kenya is a country in Africa. Kenya's prime minister, so their leader, meets with the other government officials from Uganda, Ethiopia, and Somalia to agree to sell products and services tax-free throughout their region in Africa. So they're trying to improve that whole area in Africa to encourage people to come and visit. Because, you know, if they're making money off of their products, and they're able to build stuff. They're able to increase the quality of their infrastructure, their roads, and their internet, and their hotels. So encourage travelers to come to an area. This is just a picture. So you guys can see Kenya, Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Tanzania. Okay, they do not charge a tax with each other. So in this area right here, they're not charging any tax to trade with each other. But they do charge a tax on the cotton that comes from the United States. So we're going to look at the prices of t-shirts. So any cotton that comes from the United States, they're going to put a tax on it. So that way, that t-shirts made in that area around Kenya will be cheaper than the ones that are made in the United States. So when you've got people shopping and they've got a t-shirt that's from the US and a t-shirt versus somewhere in Africa, the African t-shirt will be cheaper, hoping that people will actually buy the African t-shirt versus the t-shirt that's made in the United States. The second one is a free trade zone. So if you guys travel, whether you're taking a trip on an airplane to another country, or maybe you are taking a cruise, maybe to the Caribbean, you'll go to stores that don't charge taxes. They're called duty free, like you have a duty, like it's your job. So same word, but just a different meaning. So what happens is these countries want to encourage travelers to buy expensive stuff. So like fancy liqueurs and jewelry, perfume, maybe some fashion design, pocketbooks, wallets, watches like a Rolex. So they won't charge travelers taxes at those stores. So travelers will say, "Oh man, I'm saving, $300 because I don't have to pay any tax on this watch or this bracelet." So free trade zones, these are in highly traveled areas. So it's an area, a zone that allows tax-free products to be sold. And they usually happen around, those ports where cruise ships come in, or airports where travelers will come in and land and they can shop. And these are just some pictures so you guys can see. So we're talking about ports here where cruise ships come in. You got little stores here, and then you got those shops near the water. And this will be an inside of one of those shops. You guys see duty free at the top. Whenever you see duty free, that means they do not charge sales tax on anything that you buy. And you guys can see these folks are selling makeup and perfume. So to kind of help you remember a common market, remember those are countries in a common area that don't charge each other tax. A free trade zone, that's actual stores that don't charge taxes where travelers come in and actually buy expensive products. So common market would be countries in a common area. Free trade zone, that's a store that does not charge sales tax and they're in touristy areas. And then your last one is a free trade agreement. Anytime you see the word agreement in business terms, that's a contract. Back in the day, we used to shake hands, but we can't trust a handshake anymore. So we sign a legally binding contract. So a free trade agreement is a contract that countries sign to help remove trade barriers and to help relieve those taxes that come from importing products. So an example would be NAFTA. NAFTA stands for the North American Free Trade Agreement. The three countries in North America are Canada, the United States, and Mexico. All three countries signed a contract in 1994 to reduce those trade barriers since we're close to each other. And it helps all three countries to be able to freely trade. So a Ford truck that's made in Mexico, we could actually bring that Ford truck into the United States and not charge a tax on it, hoping to keep that price a little less expensive. So a contract would be called a free trade agreement. Example would be NAFTA. And then this would be just a picture to show you guys at the top. This is Canada. In the middle, this is the United States. And then below us, Mexico. And then we freely trade between all three countries. This is another free trade agreement with the Southeast Asian nations. So you guys can see Australia, Malaysia down here, India, China, Japan. They freely trade with each other and they sign a contract. People's Republic of China, their free trade agreement, you see Chile over here on the left, South Africa, countries in the Middle East, some parts of Europe. Of course, you've got China and India, Malaysia, Thailand, those islands down there. And then here's a European free trade agreement. There's a lot of countries that signed the contract to freely trade with Europe. And that's what we cover for today. They also worked on your balance of trade map with your imports and exports coming in and out of your country. And then be sure to do your exit ticket for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow.